with that, I'm really excited to re-welcome our Cantor Rafii, who's been such an amazing addition to our clergy here at VBS. I just want to remind everybody, we have to be careful because Cantor Rafii earned her law degree from UCLA School of Law and practiced entertainment law, so she's entertaining today. But don't cross her. She earned her master's in sacred Jewish music from the Academy for Jewish Religion. And prior to joining VBS, she served for 5 years as the cantor of Shomrei Torah Synagogue and has been very innovative in the musical programs that she did there and already bringing here to VBS. She's a published composer and pianist and performs Jewish music in Hebrew, Ladino, Farsi, and English. And we're just so happy to have her today. And we're going to learn more about Passover music and traditions from around the world. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, Joel, for having me. Thank you for that lovely introduction. Hi, everybody. Boker Tov, Chag Sameach. So we're going to begin today's presentation with a tradition from Spain. I'm going to ask everybody to take this plate. You're going to pass it around and you're going to put it over your head like this. Now, the tradition is actually, I'm supposed to go like this. I'm supposed to go around to every single person at the Seder. May I? And tap your head. But in the interest of time, I'm just going to ask you to pass this plate around. I want everybody to tap their head with the plate. Everybody tap your head with the plate, and I will explain what we're doing. And that is a tradition from 14th century Spain. So, welcome to this presentation, Passover Music and Traditions from Around the World. We're going to be learning some songs together from different regions of the world, as well as learning about some of the unique traditions. And I think, just like as I was learning about these traditions, you won't look at Passover the same way. It'll have a whole new richness. Joel gave such a beautiful introduction. Another fun fact about me is that I'm in an intermarriage. I'm married to an Ashkenazi Jewish man. And as a Persian Jewish woman married to an Ashkenazi Jewish man, we have a very multicultural home that honors the traditions of both of our ancestries. So, for example, yesterday I made my first matzo ball soup. Yeah, first. I'm Persian. Persians don't make matzo ball soup. But we also, for the Persian New Year, had a half-seen table, which was the notice table. So I'm so passionate about sharing our different cultures and our different traditions because we are a global Jewish family and we've always been incredibly diverse. We should celebrate that diversity and remember that that diversity is what makes our family, I think, thrive everywhere we go. Okay, so I'll explain to you what this custom is. It began in 14th century Spain, and it continues in many Sephardic communities today. Why does the Seder leader go around and tap every individual's head with a plate 3 times to start the Seder? Why? It happens in Morocco, Turkey, and Tunisia today. Why? To make us all part of this. I love that. What else? Why else? Thank you, Joel, Seder leader. Why else? Why else might the leader tap the head of every single? Yes, Brian. To get your attention. I love it. Great interpretation. Anything else? Yes, Leah. Yes. Blessing. Very good. That's also one of the reasons. There's more than one in case you didn't notice. Okay, so over time, it has become a bit of a superstition that it's good luck for a good year ahead. Pesach, as you know, Pesach is the new year in the Torah. According to the Torah, it's when spring, it's the new year. It's also, however, historically, the reason is it takes a verse from Talmud, a teaching from Talmud, where it says you're supposed to remove the table, the Seder table, and pass it over the heads of all of the Seder participants. Do you know it says that in the Talmud? Why? So that the children will ask questions. Why are you doing that? So really, it's a nonsensical, funny thing to make you ask questions at a Seder. And guess what it did here? It made you all come up with these beautiful interpretations. So congratulations, you've just done your first Spanish tradition. Yay! Yes. Depends how you're feeling that day and how you feel about your family. That's at the Seder. Yeah. Our first piece of music I'm going to share with you one of the quintessential Pesach songs, part of the Haggadah. It's part of the songs that come at the end. Adir Hu. Who knows Adir Hu? Who knows this song? Okay. Which version do you know? I'm guessing you probably know the Ashkenazic version that we sing all together all the time, which is, you know it, sing it with me. Adir Hu, Adir Hu. That's way too high. Let's do this. Adir Hu. Yivne veito bekarov, bimheira, bimheira, beyameinu bekarov, el b'nei, b'nei veitcha bekarov. Very good. So, what does this mean? What does this text mean? And does anybody here sing this at their Seder? Or have you sung it growing up? Anybody? Yes? Yes? No? Does anybody sing any setting of the song? Okay, well, yes. Oh, you are thinking of Chad Gadya. My father brought a goat for two zizim and this and that, which is also a wonderful song. No, this is Adir Hu. Adir means strong and mighty. And it is if you look at the text here, Bachor Hu, Gadol Hu, Dagol Hu, Hador Hu, it talks about, I'm gonna show you the translation. God is mighty. God is mighty. Actually, this song is how we named our daughter Adira. Adira, which is the feminine version of Adir Hu. It's a way to describe God's might, and it's a prayer. May God soon rebuild God's house speedily in our days soon. So we're asking for the coming of the Messiah, as you know. And there are all of these adjectives to describe God, which is God is ineffable, but it's an attempt through poetry, through literature, to describe God in all of these terms. Why might we do this on Passover? Why is this an appropriate time to declare God's might and power and strength? And God gave us our freedom. Any other response? No, it's great. No, perfect. God took us out with all his might and with God's might. I don't like to say he. God took us out with all of God's might, and we remember the great miracles that, yes. Od pa'am? With a lot of strength took us out of Egypt. Is that what you just said? Otzia b'mitzrayim? I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Yes, with the outstretched arm. Excellent. Very good. Okay, excellent. So now we have this melody that you just heard, right? This is a bimheira, bimheira. Beautiful. So many of these Ashkenazic melodies are actually taken from 15th, 16th century Germany and Central Europe. They're hymns that the Jews living at those time, as you know, we absorb the culture of our host countries. So a lot of contemporary Jewish music today sounds like American folk music, right? And Persian Jewish music sounds like Persian classical music. So there has been a traditional Sephardic melody uncovered of Adir Hu. And would you like to hear what it sounds like? I'm gonna teach it to you. Ready? Yes? How are we feeling? Okay. Adir Hu, yivne veito bekarov, bimheira, bimheira, beyameinu bekarov, el b'nei, b'nei veitcha bekarov, bimheira, bimheira, beyameinu bekarov. I'm going to teach it to you. Go back to the Ready? Repeat after me. Adir Hu. Repeat. Yes. Adir Hu. Yivne veito bekarov. Beautiful. Bimheira. You're great. Beyameinu bekarov. El b'nei. Try that. B'nei veitcha bekarov. Your naturals. Bimheira. Beyameinu bekarov. Are you ready? Adir Hu, yivne veito bekarov, bimheira, beyameinu bekarov. repeats. Bachor hu, gadol hu, yim leveto. And the third time it's dagul hu, ador hu. So do you understand how it goes? It just continues like that. It's a nice, fun, upbeat song, isn't it? All right, so that is our first multicultural song that we're going to share. We're going to continue now. From Ethiopia. Yes. What do you think is going on in this photo? What's being made? Yes, excellent. So Ethiopian Jews from Ethiopia, strongly identify with the story of Passover. And because in Ethiopia for many years, they lacked Haggadot, from which to read the story of Passover and the blessings of Passover, the local tradition in Ethiopia is to read Exodus directly from the Torah, is to just read all of Exodus from the Torah. That is the Passover observance. And in some Ethiopian families, the matriarch of the family destroys all of her dishes, all of the earthenware dishes, and makes a new set in order to break with the past. Can you imagine destroying your dishes every year? It would be kind of painful. And making a new set, by the way, every year? Yes. Yes, beautiful, Esther. It's a really good question. We're square now. We used to be more, yeah. It's a really good question. I actually don't know the answer to that. I'll look it up. Yeah, I don't know what happened traditionally. Although I will say that I believe in a lot of Sephardic, a lot of them are still around. Yeah, I was going to say, I think in Sephardic, or as far as like Persian. Okay, yes, good. There's also a tradition in Ethiopia that Jews in Ethiopia, or Ethiopian Jews of Ethiopian heritage, they refrain from eating fermented dairy, such as yogurt, butter, or cheese. It has to do again with reading directly from Exodus. Matzah is homemade and it's fashioned from chickpea flour. And on the morning of the Seder, sometimes a lamb is slaughtered. So it's quite a literal observance of Passover in a lot of ways. Okay, so now we can. And speaking of matzah, we will turn now to Lachma Anya. What is this beautiful? All right. Who knows about the Lachma Anya and what this is? This is the part towards the beginning of the Seder during Magid, when we start telling the story. Yes, exactly. Everyone know the Seder order song? Excellent. We eat the bread of poverty. We eat the bread of poverty. This is the bread of poverty. Sometimes we translate it as the bread of affliction. And it means that this is the bread that our ancestors ate in the land of Egypt, and it is an invitation. All who are hungry and need to eat, all who are in need, come and celebrate Passover or eat the Pesach offering. Now we are here. Next year, may we be in Israel, which is common refrain. Now we are slaves. Next year, may we be good. I'm gonna try to. There we go. Okay. Great. So this is really a very, very poignant, powerful message of Passover. As many of you know, one of the reasons we eat matzah is that our ancestors ate matzah when they were escaping Egypt. But another reason that this beautiful teaching is showing us, it's reminding us that it's the bread of poverty. It looks like bread made when you don't have the resources to make bread. And it reminds us to do what? To open our hearts, our homes, and to invite all those who are in need and hungry to come and eat with us. So it captures a lot of our tradition. Memory, recalling, telling our story, Lador Vador, passing it from generation to generation, and our obligation to open our homes and our hearts to those in need. It encompasses so much of our tradition. Yes. It is not Hebrew, it is Aramaic. Yes. Yes, well said. So around what era was Aramaic spoken? So yes, following around, the 1st century CE up until the Middle Ages, Aramaic was the main language spoken in this area, in the Near Eastern areas. It was not Hebrew. Hebrew was revived many, many, many years later. Ancient Hebrew was revived many years later, thank God, and made into this beautiful modern language. So thank you for pointing that out. This is Aramaic. What else is Aramaic that we recite every single day? A lot of things, but what do we recite every day in particular? Kaddish. Very good. Yes, another question. Is that true? All people? Yeah, was it spoken by Jews only or by all people? Incredible. Wow. That's incredible. Wow. So, but of the whole Middle East. But isn't there a Jewish dialect of Aramaic? Okay. Wow. Wow. Beautiful. Yeah, so if you look at the Hebrew here, it doesn't sound like anything, like bread is lechem, right, in Hebrew, but here's lachma, anya, it would be in Hebrew onyim. What would it be? The bread of poverty in Hebrew would be, yes, but poverty would, yes. Yes. Uh-huh. Yes. Humble bread. Excellent, because thank you so much for bringing that up, Leah, because another teaching of Passover. Why do we clear out the chametz? Chametz, if it's bread that has risen, why do we clear out the chametz? I'm sure many of you know about this. Why do we do this? Because we are... Yeah. Repeat the questions. Absolutely, because of our Zoom. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you for reminding me. Okay, yeah, we can pass the mic around. So, yes, Leah, will you repeat your comment?
May I relate the story from the DP camps?
Can we do that at the end, please? I want to get through. I have a long presentation.
About the Lachma. Okay.
Yes, please save it for the end, Leah. Okay. So we want to get rid of our egos. We want to reduce our egos and remember to be humble. Chametz, think of your ego as inflated. Everyone, we're all victim of that. We're all guilty of that, I'd say. It's human nature. So Passover is reminding us to take a step back, to remember that we are small in an infinite universe, and to do good, and to not only think about ourselves, which is a tough challenge, but it is important to remember. I mean, many of you are wonderful about everybody I know in this community thinks about others and is incredibly wonderful and gracious, but human nature. Okay, so here we go. We are going to learn two different melodies. So this is the melody that I learned growing up in America, in Ashkenazi temples. It's by Emmanuel Pugatchev, and I believe it's the one that's most well known. However, I've heard from some colleagues that they know different versions. So I'm going to sing this one for you, and let me know if this is the one you know. And then I also have, of course, a Sephardic Persian one to share with you. So this is the one I know. Lachma Anya di achalu avhatana be'ara di Mizrayim be'ara di Mizrayim kol dichvin yete ve'echol kol ditrich yete ve'yivsach hashata hacha leshana Yisrael Hashata Avdei Leshana Ba B'nei Chorim. Has anyone heard that one? Yes. Does anybody know any other melodies of Lachma Anya? Wait, we need a microphone up here. Do we have the extra mic? Anybody have the extra mic? Yeah, Joel, thank you so much. If you could do, yes.
The Sephardi one that they used to do was tuneless compared with what you've just done with Lachma Anya di achalu avatana be'ar ad Mitzrayim kol dichvin yete ve'yechol kol ditzrich yete ve'yifsach hashata Na leshana haba ba'aretz Yisrael hashata avde leshana haba b'nei chorin.
Wow, beautiful! So Sephardic from which regions? You can keep that until the next person. Sephardic from which, like
That was from the Middle East.
Middle East? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's very beautiful that you shared that. Thank
And
you
I
for sharing
think they
that.
still do it. And that rabbi who is a Sephardi rabbi who, what's his name? His son plays the oud and all the things.
Oh, Asher Levy,
One day
his
he
father.
was standing in the passage singing it, and I took it up, and he said, "Where did you know that from?"
So that is a beautiful tradition. Now, I don't know if this is also a Sephardic tradition. In the Persian Seder custom, is to hold up the matzah
Yeah, have you got? Yeah.
in the plate and to recite the Seder order. Kadesh urchat karpas yachat magid rochzam otzi matzah maror korech. And when you complete the Seder order, then you go into Lachma Anya diachalu. It's like a chant.
So guaranteed my mother and her father knew that version
Yes.
because she was born in Persia and he was Persian.
Unbelievable.
So here's the-
Unbelievable. So, as you know, thank you so much for sharing that, Esther. So, a lot of Middle Eastern or Eastern Jewish music is chanted, and it's what we call monophonous, which is it's one melody, as opposed to harmonic Western music, which has like chords. Right? That's Western, to add chords and to major 5/1. But Sephardic Middle Eastern music is more of a chant. So I don't know if some of you have heard me chanting the Hallel that my grandfather chanted if you came to the Cantor's concert or if you came to services this week. It's more Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Avdei Adonai, Hallelujah. It's more of chanting. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to bring together the Ashkenazic style of Western, more structured music with the Eastern chanting style, and I created a fusion melody of Lachma Anya that I'm going to share with you, and I'd love to teach it to you. So here it is. Lachma Anya, Lachma Anya, Lachma Anya, Lachma Anya. Join me. Lachma Anya, Lachma Anya. Let me hear you. Lachma Anya, Lachma Anya. Verses. Diachalu afatana be'arade Mizrayim kol dichvil yetei v'yeichol kol ditrich yetei v'yifsach Lachma Anya, Lachma Anya, Lachma Anya, Lachma Anya. Hashata achad l'shana haba be'arade Yisrael. Hashata avdei l'shana haba b'nei chorim. Everybody, Lachma Anya, Lachma Anya, Lachma Anya, Lachma Anya, Lachma Anya, Lachma Anya. Thank you. Thank you. All right. I wrote the melody. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Okay, what's going on in this video? No? Okay, what just happened here? Very tame version. Now what happens with my phone? The little kids doing what? Whipping their, wow. Okay. Yes, okay, so the Persian and Afghani tradition. Can we mute someone needs to be muted.
Oh, it's you.
Need to mute myself. Turn the sound off. Hello, testing 1, 2. Yeah, but it still works. The touch screen still works now. Okay. Zoom. Okay, hello, testing. Testing. Testing, testing. There we go. All right. Can you all still hear me on Zoom? Can you all still hear me on Zoom? Yes? Okay, awesome. All right, back we go. All right, so in Persia and Afghanistan, this is a Persian, well, before Afghanistan was Afghanistan. No. Slideshow. In the Persian Empire, there was a tradition of taking scallions, you know, those long green bulbs, going around the Seder. We do this in my family every single year, and whipping each person. So it turns into a bit of a balagan. It's super fun. It's the part that the kids all look forward to. And as you know, with the Afikoman and with many other traditions, like passing the Seder plate, a lot of it is meant to engage the children, because Seders have historically are very long and can be boring, and you want your children to remember the story so that they'll pass it on. So you do whatever you can to make it interesting. That's why the kids ask the questions and so on and so forth. So this scallion whipping was really the highlight of our Seders growing up. You can't wait, and who are you going to hit the hardest this year, et cetera. Kind of like the plate tapping question. How hard do you tap the plate? How hard do you hit with the scallion? And why do we do it? Yes. To remember that we were slaves. It's reenacting the taskmasters whipping, the Egyptian taskmasters whipping the Israelites. Excellent guess. Yes, very good. Wait, yeah.
We never did it, and I was an Ashkenaz as well. I married an Ashkenazi guy, and I never did anything more from age 14 that was a Sephardic origin. But my cousins, some of them who were in Israel for years and years, they used lettuce. I said, I've never seen this. We never did it in our house. So I don't know.
Lettuce, but yeah, they use lettuce and sometimes green onions.
Remember the beatings.
That's exactly it's exactly what we had. Remember the beatings, exactly. Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Yes, hi, Leah.
To wake up the children.
To wake up the children. That's right. Wake up, wake up. Very good. And we could tie back to our first example, our first ritual. It's to have the kids ask, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? We ask questions at the Seder. Like, we should always be asking questions in our tradition, in our lives. Needless to say, it's a very fun tradition. All right, we are going to continue now with Echad Mi Yodea. Who's familiar with this song? Oop, come on. Oh, come. Okay, it's a lot of Hebrew. Here's a transliteration, and here's the translation. So we'll start with the Hebrew as I speak about Echad Mi Yodea. Actually, let's start with the English. Okay, so who knows 1, who knows 2, who knows 3, who knows 4? From 1 all the way to 13. Very good, very good. Now, this is a counting song. Also, it looks like a children's song, so another way to engage the children, another way to teach them about Judaism. And each number, who knows 1? I know 1. What's 1? 1 is our creator of God in heaven. Who knows 2? I know 2. 2 are the tablets. Shnei Luchot HaBrit, the tablets of the covenant. Who knows 3? I know 3. 3 are the avot, the ancestors. Who knows 4? There are 4 imahot, the mothers, right? Sarah, Rivka, Leah, Rachel, Leah. Who knows 5? Chamishani Odea, Chumshei Torah. 5 books of the Torah. So here you can see it's all the numbers. Shnayim, Shalosh, Arba. Can you see my mouse? Yeah. Chamisha, Shisha, Shiva, all the way to 13. And so it's a really wonderful lesson for children and adults. I'll go to the translation now. For children and adults, of the significance of numbers in Judaism. Numbers play a huge role within all cultures of Judaism. I can attest to that. Having grown up in a Persian Jewish family, numbers play a really important role. So there was this thing called cheshming, which is like ayin hara. It's like keeping away ayin hara, the bad eye. And the Ashkenazic tradition is to do, what do? You like two, right? So one Sephardic or Persian tradition is to, hold up a chamsa, like to feel, and also, Ashkenazic tradition is you don't count individuals in our tradition. So not 1, not 2, not 3. You don't count when you wrap tefillin. You don't count the 7 times. You're not supposed to count people. So there's all these superstitions. And so numbers are really significant. And here specifically, the numbers they come back to God. So 1 is our God in heaven and earth, but 13 are the attributes of God. There are 13 attributes of God, according to Maimonides. That's, the 13 principles of faith, not according to Maimonides, according to all of Jewish tradition. Maimonides talks about the 13 principles of faith. So everything is in the numbers, but then everything comes back to one. Everything is unified in one. So while all of these numbers have significance, and while there's gematria in Judaism as well, which is counting the Hebrew letters of words and determining what that means for the meaning of the words, and Kabbalah has to do with numbers, this song has so many beautiful meanings, and it's just a basic counting teaching song. All right, so let's go over some of the text. Okay, here is the traditional Ashkenazic melody, and if you know it, I'll go back. Okay, here we go. Echad mi yodea, echad ani yodea, echad Eloheinu shebashamayim uba'aretz, shnayim mi yodea, shnayim ani yodea, shnei luchot habrit, echad, sorry. Shnei luchot habrit, echad Eloheinu shebashamayim uba'aretz. Okay, let's try that with me. We're going to count, let's try to do 5 of them. So let's start with 1. Echad mi yodea, echad ani yodea, echad Eloheinu shebashamayim uba'aretz, shnayim mi yodea, shnayim ani yodea, shnei luchot habrit, echad Eloheinu shebashamayim uba'aretz. One, number 3. Shlosha mi yodea, shlosha ni yodea, shlosha avot, shnei luchot habrit, echad Eloheinu shebashamayim uba'aretz. Number 4. Arba mi yodea, arba ni yodea, arba imahot, shlosha avot, shnei luchot habrit, echad Eloheinu shebashamayim uba'aretz. Number 5. Chamisha mi yodea, chamisha ani yodea, chamisha chumshei Torah. 4. Arba imahot, shlosha avot, shnei luchot habrit, echad Eloheinu shebashamayim uba'aretz. And if you're it gets really fun because you do, sorry, it's hard to play and sing, but it's, if you do shlosha asar. So, Shlosha asar mi yodea, shlosha asar ani yodea, shlosha asar midaya, shneim asar shitaya, achat asar kochvaya, asara dibraya, tisha yarchei leda, shmona yamei mila, shiva yamei shabta, shisha sidim eta, chamisha. Okay, no, that wasn't something to clap for, but thank you. But I know another version. So this is definitely one, if I were leading, it's one that you memorize because it's very much of a tongue twister, but it's a lot of fun. And you can imagine how creative you can get with it, but you do have to have pretty good memory and good, Hebrew skills. All right, so that's one of those counting songs. Now, I discovered from a dear friend of mine, Rabbi Amiel Monson, a classmate from AJRCA, and also a friend of this community, used to be at VBS, Ladino version of Echad Mi Yodea. Who has heard the Ladino version? Anybody? It is so beautiful. I just discovered it. Yes, you've heard it? You've heard the Ladino version. And it's a little bit different. So it has a refrain that keeps repeating. So instead of counting and, going back, da, 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 here is the refrain. Quien supiese, entendiese, alabar al Dios creyente, cuál es el uno es el creador, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo. That's the refrain. So let's try that together, and then we'll do the counting. Quien supiese. Let's do repeat. Quien supiese. Yeah. Entendiese. Alabar al Dios creyente, cuál es el hu baruch shemo. Okay, that sounds like a combination of and correct, which Ladino is, it's actually an ancient form of Castilian Spanish from, imagine when the Jews were exiled from the Iberian Peninsula in 1492, they took that form of Spanish, and it was frozen and mixed with Hebrew and Arabic and some of the other languages as they were dispersed around the Mediterranean. So there are some parts that sound like modern Spanish and some parts that sound like more, ancient Spanish, centuries old Spanish. So it's saying, so it's actually very similar to the English translation of the Hebrew. The difference that you'll see, which I love, is if you come here, I should just do it from here. 11 hermanos sin Yosef, 11 brothers without Joseph. 12 hermanos con Yosef, 12 brothers with Joseph. It's kind of creative, subtracting. And in the traditional Ashkenazic version, 11 and 12, let's go back. Do you remember what they were? 11 are the stars in Joseph's dream, and 12 are the 12 tribes. So it's slightly different, but all of the rest are exactly the same. So let's sing a little bit more of it. All right, this is going to be a challenge, but I'm going to do it. Okay, here we go. We're going to start with, why don't we try doing, ¿Cuáles son los reyes? Reyes son los Icarim. Okay, all right. So, okay. Whew. Here we go, everybody. Quien supiese, entendiese, alabar al Dios creyente, cuál es el uno es el Criador, Baruch hu, Baruch Shemo. Then we go back to the refrain. This is different than the other version. Quien supiese, entendiese, alabar al Dios creyente, cuál es la dos Moshe y Aarón. Uno es el Creador, Baruch hu, Baruch Shemo. Then we start again. Cuan supiese, entendiese, alabar al Dios creyente. And then we go. ¿Cuáles son los tres nuestros padres son? And then we go. Dos, Moshe y Aarón. Very nice, Joel. Uno es el Creador, Baruch hu, Baruch Shemo. Should we do another one? Quien supiese y entendiese, alabar al Dios creyente. ¿Cuáles son los? Good. ¿Cuáles son los cuatro madres de Israel? Tres nuestros padres son, dos Moshe y Aarón. Uno es el Creador, Baruch hu, Baruch Shemo. Let's do one more, because this is so fun. Okay, actually, let's go from 13. Okay. Quien supiese, entendiese, alabar al Dios creyente. ¿Cuál es el treje? We say treje. Treje son los Icarim, 12 hermanos con Yosef, 11 hermanos sin Yosef, 10 mandamientos de la ley, 9 meses de la preñada, that's 9 months of pregnancy, 8 días de la mila, Brit Milah, 7 días con Shabbat, 6 libros de la Mishnah, 5 libros de la ley, 4 madres de Israel, 3 nuestros padres son, 2 Moshe y Aarón, uno es el Creador, Baruch hu, Baruch Shemo. Great job, everybody. Very nice. Okay, moving along. How are we doing on time? Good. So we are now going to move to Góra Kalwaria. I know I did not pronounce that correctly. For anybody who's from Poland, please correct me. This is a Polish tradition. This is the town in Poland that the Ger Hasidic movement originates from. Families pour water on the floor, and then they reenact the moment when the Israelites crossed the Red Sea by walking through the water. How awesome is that? I want to institute this at our tradition, at our Seder. It always occurs on the 7th day of Passover, though, so it's not actually at the Seder. It's at the 7th day of Passover, because Jewish tradition says that the 7th day is when the Israelites reached the Sea of Reeds. As they walk through the water, some Jews in this town will name the towns and cities that their ancestors were displaced from in Europe. So it's a really, a really special way to, and kind of sad way as well to commemorate and remember. There's also a Romanian Jewish tradition of recreating scenes from Exodus by filling a bag or pillowcase with heavy objects, walking around the Seder table several times while carrying it to remember the Israelites leaving Egypt with their traditions, with their belongings on their backs. Another tradition, I learned many traditions for this presentation, and one that I didn't, just for timing, I didn't share, but I thought it was so interesting, is in parts of Hungary and Austria, the Seder table is decorated with really ornate jewelry because of the verse from Exodus, if you remember, that the Israelites, before they left, took the silver and gold belongings of the Egyptians on their way out. So, so there's a lot of really, really interesting, but these all are tied together because they're all reenactments. They're all reenactments, and they're all of the songs also are not only reenacting, but they're ways to teach the children, because that's really one of the central messages. So we've learned Passover is about teaching our children, generation to generation. It's about reenacting the story, telling the story so we never forget. It's about opening our homes and our hearts. What else is it about? What have we learned from all of these traditions? Anything else that I missed? Lowering our egos. Taking in the stranger. Excellent. Pretty good. Okay, so now we turn to America and a beautiful song of Passover, one of my favorites, Debbie Friedman, the modern day Miriam of blessed memory. And just so a lot of you know, in the works, I have not announced this yet, but in the works this year for Debbie Friedman's yard site, her 11th yard site? No, 12th yard site is a Debbie Friedman concert / Shabbat. So stay tuned for that. So this is a song, traditionally, if you look at the Hebrew of the Song of the Sea and of Shirat Hayam, if you look closely at the Hebrew, many scholars speculate that this Song of the Sea, Michamocha, was actually composed by Miriam, because there is the Hebrew word for responding, right? Ta'aneh, right? That means to respond, to answer. So it sounds like a call and response where she wrote the words, and then all of the Israelites repeated the words after her. So people who study the text interpret it like that. Literally, it says that Moshe sang, and then Miriam danced and led the women. So I love Debbie Friedman's Midrash, how she reads between the lines and tells us a story of Miriam. So please sing with me. Everyone familiar with this melody? Yes, no? All right, you're going to learn it. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. Okay, now that you know it, try it again. And the women. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. And Miriam was a weaver of unique variety. The tapestry she wove was one which sang our history. With every strand and every thread she crafted her delight. A woman touched with spirit, she dances toward the light. Yes, Leah, I love the clapping, everybody. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. We're going to skip to the third verse for time. And Miriam the prophet took her timbrel in her hand, and all the women followed her just as she had planned. And Miriam raised her voice in song. She sang with praise and might. Everybody! We've just lived through a miracle. We're going to dance tonight. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. Very nice. Great job. All right. That brings us to our last tradition from around the world, the Moroccan mimuna. Who knows what a mimuna is? Is that where it comes from? Ma'amin, can't. No, I'm going to explain what it is, but do we know where the name comes from? Leah, to the mic, into the mic. Into the mic, into the microphone.
Oh, I think it comes from for the Rambam, Ben Maimon.
Okay, so potentially from Ramban, Maimonides,
sure.
And potentially from Ne'eman. Yes. Okay, so that's also something because I hadn't thought about where the name comes from, but I know the tradition well. So this Moroccan tradition is what do we do to celebrate the end of Passover? What do you all do to celebrate the last day of Passover? Eat. We eat again. Yeah, we start eating food again. That's right. That's very good. So families of Moroccan and Algerian descent rejoice in the end of Passover with a mimuna, a celebration that includes, so it's a feast of lavish sweets and pastries. What a way. What a way to celebrate. A table, usually there's like one giant central table that's heaped with items symbolizing luck or fertility, which again ties so many traditions of spring together, right? So many traditions in different cultures of spring have to do with newness, fertility. Many repeat the number 5, khamsa, such as dough with 5 fingerprint marks or 5 silver coins. There's fig leaves, live fish, stalks of wheat, and honey on the table as well. And some participants, this is a really beautiful part of this tradition, enter the ocean on the night of the Mimuna and toss pebbles behind their backs to ward off evil spirits. So this is a fun tradition, and we've been talking about, potentially at some point having a Mimuna celebration here at VBS to honor this. But if you can see the round plates filled with delicacies, pastries, and there's usually, so it's usually an after dinner. You break it with whatever delicious meal, a dairy meal, so that you can come and enjoy these sweets at the Mimuna. And to conclude, and then I'll open it up for questions. And I know that, and we have a story also from Leah, right, about Lachma Anya, right, Leah? Didn't you want to share something? Yoo-hoo. Leah, you wanted to share something about Lachma Anya, right? Didn't you want to share something about Lachma Anya? No. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you need the mic. You need the mic. Yes.
No, I got it.
Thank you. In the DP camps,
Yes.
we had the brigada, they were organizing our holidays, and so they were starting burning the chametz. You should have seen people were reacting. You are burning food.
Wow.
Oh, I want to say, I'm sorry. Ladino.
Yes.
I knew Ladino
Yes.
before I knew Hebrew from my Turkish, Bulgarian, Yugoslavian neighbors and friends. Bulgarians, Yugoslavians, and Turkish Jews spoke Ladino.
Yes.
My neighborhood was new immigrants from all over, and my mother had a
Amazing.
grocery store, so I knew their
Wow.
languages before I knew Hebrew.
Wow, that's incredible. Are there any, so my homework, I'm going to ask for questions now. My homework is I'm going to find out when the round matzah turned to the square matzah and why. And I will also find out mimuna, where does that term come from? I want to also invite everybody before I take questions. I want to please invite you to email me, reach out to me directly, call me at any time. I'd love to chat with you further about this presentation or about anything. And I will find the answers to these questions this week before the 7th day of Passover. Hopefully you'll join us in synagogue for those services, but I'll find the answers. So if you email me, I will get back to you about that. I can also send them to you. You can send it out to Hazak. We got to conclude. All right, questions. Yes. It comes from 5.
I didn't know that. Thank
Yes.
you so much.
Khamsa comes from Chamisha, exactly. Yes, 5. Excellent. Any other questions or comments? Yes, Barb. Why 5?
I don't have a question. I just want to say this is wonderful. But what's also wonderful is we have matriarchs in this room, and I would love to see them play a more active role because it's so enriching, and you're so amazing.
Thank you so
But
much.
They come with such a great history.
Yeah.
And it just enriches this experience. So anyway, that's my vote.
Yes, I love that. I really, really love that you said that. We have so many learned and wonderful female leaders in this community. I think, Barb, that was your point, right? And sharing the traditions. So, and also remember, Passover celebrates all of the Israelites, and in particular celebrates, in my mind, also the prophet Miriam and all of the wonderful things she did as a leader in our community. Yeah.
Three explanation for the origin for Maimuna or
Yes.
Mimuna.
Yes.
One of them is Bemet Rambam, Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon. They believe that this is the day that he was that he died. Another one is in Arabic, in Berber, not
Yes,
Arabic.
yes.
Bar Mazal, a lucky person is something Mimun or something like that. And another one is from
Guest.
Hebrew Emunah.
Emunah, which is what Esther said.
What
And
Esther said.
there's one more that you just reminded me of. In Farsi, guest is Mehmun.
Maimun is
Mehmun.
luck.
Guest. Mehmun, inviting guests. Look at that. Yofi, toda rabba, toda rabba. All right, thank you all so much for having me. It's so lovely to be with you.
Thank you, Cantor Rafii. Thank you so much. This was so fun. I'm going to start incorporating some of these other traditions in our Seder. I think it would make it fresh. Well, thank you again, Cantor Rafii. We look forward to having you back again.
Likewise.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
So we have a